I'm Mark Trexler with The Climatographers, and in this video I'm going to explore how you can use the climate web as your second brain for helping to solve climate change. What's the nature of the problem and opportunity? And I use problem/opportunity because for every risk that's out there in terms of addressing climate change, it's an opportunity for someone else. So these two things really are two sides of the same coin. But climate change is an externality problem, it's a collective action problem, it's an equity problem, it's a behavior change problem, it's a political polarization problem. It's a wicked problem all around. And there's a lot of discussion as to what is the best solution for climate change, whether it's collective action, ESG investing, reimagining capitalism, renewable energy, natural climate solutions. Huge discussion around the best solution, but of course there really is no such thing as a best solution. And if you wanted to organize, for example, a Save the Climate conference, you would want ideally to be pulling in all kinds of things, whether crowdfunding, intergenerational decision making, Green New Deal, global governance, ocean fertilization, divestment, ecocide, climate liability, circular economy. You would like to be able to pull together all kinds of topics and resources to have that conference. And you'd like to be able to pull together a wide range of attendees. And certainly there's no single list, but what we show here is a whole bunch of experts in a lot of those areas that we showed just on the prior slide. If ideally you'd like to be able to draw upon the knowledge of these and other experts. And that's what we've already pulled together in the Climate Web. And I'm going to show you, in a sense, how the Climate Web works for you to take advantage of it. So I've just showed you those screenshots of index entries, collections of index entries. Each of those index entries, there are more than 3,500 of them, link you to $20,000 of knowledge curation. And so they can link you to individual reports, to individual books and papers. They can link you to topical libraries, individual graphics, video collections, website collections, topical expert collections of individual experts' work. Those index entries can link you to lots of different things. And I'm going to show you here just in the context of the wicked problem deep dive entry. So you have the subsidiary index entries below. Off to the left, you have the different sources collections, news and opinion collections, video collections, website collections, extracted material collections. This is just intended to give you sort of a picture of what these different index entries are able to point you to. The first line, the first piece of doing all of this is to take thousands and thousands of reports and other things. We've gone through many of them. We've extracted key ideas. That's what you see on the left-hand side. You can actually read the report or the news story on the right-hand side of your screen. But you can then say, oh, well, this looks like an interesting thought that's been extracted. So you can jump to that thought. You can read it in detail on your screen because it pops up right there. And then you see that, well, that this is part of a collection of extracted materials. And so you can see, you can jump to hundreds of extracted materials collections and see, extracted graphics from many, many different reports. Graphics that otherwise you'd have to read hundreds of reports and articles to even find. We've pulled them together for you in the Climate Web. We've gone through books like 2015 Sir David King's Climate Change: A Risk Assessment, one of the best risk assessment studies out there for climate change. We've pulled out the key graphics so you can see those in a collection of their own. But of course, it's not just the science. You can come here to find out, what is George Marshall talking about when he wrote the book, Don't Even Think About It, Why Our Brains Are Wired to Ignore Climate Change. So this just skims the surface of the kinds of information that we've organized in the Climate Web. Now, these get built up into libraries like Climate Uncertainties and Unknowns, or Business Positioning and Advocacy on Climate Action that you can then dig into, or you can take a look at News and Opinion, in this case, Accelerating Worsening Climate Change. And you can take a look at individual news stories just hovering over. You can take a look at the news stories right there in the Climate Web. You can watch videos. We've pulled, who knew there was as much climate music as is out there? This is just one of hundreds of video headings for, in this case, for climate music. Even things like climate cartoons. And if you take a look at this particular cartoon, it may be sort of the best climate change cartoon of all time, but we have many of them that we've collected in the Climate Web. We also have collections of websites and pages. This is for sea level rise visualizations, but it can be for, there are hundreds of them, all kinds of topics where we've pulled together the key people working on particular topics and the key most important websites, etc. So coming back to the idea of sort of showing you collections of index entries, just to give you a sense of the scope of the climate web, you can come here and see, well, what are all the different kinds of solutions being discussed? And you can jump into those index entries and dig deeper. Or you can see, well, okay, I'm interested particularly in natural climate solutions. So here you can dig deeper into each of the different natural climate solutions that are being discussed out there. Or if you're interested in Project Drawdown, you can dig deeper into each of those different solutions. So you get the idea of how much information is organized here. And if you want to think about, well, what's the evidence? What out there? What's working? What's not working? We're pulling together sort of the evaluation literature for lots of different ways of tackling climate change, so you can find out what is the experience with carbon pricing? What is the experience with different aspects of trying to tackle climate change? Again, that's something else that's in the Climate Web. We then also, though, have all sorts of other things, and I'm only going to show you a couple of the hundreds. You know, if you want to just see a rank ordering of the Project Drawdown technologies by CO2 benefit, and of course you can click on any of these thoughts and they'll take you to other thoughts. Or if you want to see how several different studies have come up with different numbers for natural climate solutions mitigation potentials, and then you can jump back to those studies. Or if you want to find out about what is the carbon price that would be required to limit climate change to 2 degrees centigrade, here we've pulled together all of the places in the Climate Web, the best studies, the best graphics, the best news stories, the best ideas, to give you a snapshot of the literature and the thinking around this particular idea. So you can come up to speed in 30 minutes here, as opposed to spending months sort of tracking down all the different things that we've already tracked down. We then also pull together insights pages, as I mentioned at the beginning. So here you can come and sort of understand what's going on with carbon offsets today and sort of carbon offsets round 2. Or you can find out what's going on with writers and artists involved and interested in climate change, or what are the best forecasts for where climate change is actually headed, or what you can do to reduce your carbon footprint. Hundreds of these insights pages. So if you're interested in solving climate change, consider employing the Climate Web to help as, in effect, your second brain for tackling climate change. You can explore it online, it's open access, but you can also download it through premium access for much faster and more powerful exploration. Check out our climatesites.net, where we can extract information from the Climate Web into simple to use websites. If you're interested in a particular topic, in many cases you can save days of time with our advanced topical roadmaps that walk you through those topics inside the Climate Web. You can incorporate Climate Web content into your own Climate Brain or other knowledge management system, including the entire Climate Web if you want to do that. And you can ask the climatographers for help in terms of customized briefings, dashboards, roadmaps. We can do a lot with the Climate Web very quickly and very cost effectively as compared to other options. If you want to really turn the Climate Web into your second brain, take a look at yourclimatephd.climatesites.net or yourclimatemba.climatesites.net to see how we've made it possible to instantly jump to all the different topics that you might want to be able to access in the Climate Web, depending on your needs. Thanks.